Welcome to Zen and Tech. It is our big Fitness Week wrap-up. Joining me tonight, as always, the host of our show, Georgia. How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Now, we have had on, over the last few weeks, the people who run every one of our major mobile sites. We've had Kevin Mitchell talking exercise. We have had Phil Nickinson talking nutrition. We have had Daniel Rubino grumpily talking about lack of sleep, or sleep. I couldn't tell at the end which one he was talking about. But now you are stuck with me, the last one, and we are going to discuss the end of it all, pulling it all together, living a healthier, more balanced life. What do you think of that, Georgia?
That's what it's all about. How do you keep it up? How do you keep going?
See, that's my question to you, because I was just complaining, and yeah, I was complaining before the show. And whenever I complain, it feels like one of those things where a supermodel tells you how hard their life is. You know, oh, woe is me, I get to write about Apple all day. But this is, just for example, this is my fourth podcast, and I did an interview as well in the last 2 days.
Are you bragging about how popular you are now?
No, and you know, some people
Where
think it's
aren't you?
Some people
Rene
think it's
is everywhere
incredibly
on the
douchey
net
to say how busy you are. It's like a
Yeah.
perverse form of humble brag. But for me, it's not that at all. This is supposed to be Fitness Month. I'm supposed to be doing all these things, and it's so hard to find the time to do those things when you have these crazy schedules.
Okay, so what are you not keeping up with? And let's start off there. And what do you want to be doing? What would be your optimal goal to be doing instead of what you're doing now?
Well, I started off Fitness Month, as we all did, with these high hopes. You know, I was going to exercise more. I was going to eat better. I was going to sleep better. And partially because I've been running Fitness Month this year, because Kevin's been busy with the BlackBerry 10 relaunch, I have done precisely none of those things. I was going to wake up every morning and exercise, and you know, right away I wake up in the morning. Most days my Skype thing is beeping because there's some problem I have to go take care of. Then I get in front of the computer and it's a vicious trap. Once you're in front of there, it's so hard to leave again.
Yeah, and again, there's so many, especially with something that there's so scintillating. Like, you speak to everyone, you're dealing with lots of things, there's lots of places to surf. It seems so much more fun than getting up and exercising or buying fresh groceries or cooking. Yeah,
and the time kind of gets away from you because you're doing one thing and then something else comes up, and by the time I look up, it's the middle of the afternoon, and then I have to do something. You know, it's amazing how, and I don't know if there's some form of procrastination by workload in there or avoidance by workload in there, but it just seems like I'm allowing a tremendous time suck, and it's not allowing me to do all these things that we want to do as part of Fitness Month.
Right. Well, let's go through some easy tips with everything. So probably the easiest one is sleep. The easiest one, because in the end, you have to say to yourself, if you are not getting enough sleep, you're just not going to be productive anyways. And that usually helps people say, you know what, I could be doing, you know, if you give up on a few hours of sleep each night, you're actually going to become much less productive. You're going to want to eat more. And you're going to be more grumpy and more foul, and you're not going to be able to think as quickly. So you're actually becoming less productive by having, say, 2 to 3 hours of extra work time, but it's going to make you suffer all through the day.
It starts to feel, and I don't want to say this insensitively, but it starts to feel like brain damage. Like you lose awareness around you, and then you start losing the ability to speak in coherent sentences.
Yeah, I become relatively foul without enough. Yeah, don't laugh. I know you know.
If you don't get your 18 hours of sleep, you are tremendously foul.
Yes, exceptionally so. I don't really need 18. But if I don't get enough sleep, I am lethargic. I'm not thinking as quickly. And in my field, I really do have to. I have to make sure that I'm fully there, and I'm aware of everything that's happening with that.
So,
oh, we just lost video. Oh, there we go. We got video back.
We never lose video. It's just some people lose it for a second, and it'll come back and they can reload
it was
the browser.
Okay. It's you, Georgia.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I'll edit that out so it's less embarrassing for you.
No, it's okay. You can leave it in. It's always me.
The thing is, though, that at nighttime, and I know parents can relate to this, you know, you've finally gotten rid of all the people who are disturbing you during the day, whether it's coworkers, whether it's kids, and everything is finally quiet. And you look around and suddenly you can do all these things because you're not constrained by the demands of others. And it feels like you have this time, but you can't spend that time on yourself and spend it sleeping, I guess, unless you prioritize sleeping as for yourself.
Right. And you have to, some people, again, a lot of people look at sleep as laziness, So if you're sleeping, you're not being productive, you're being lazy, you don't deserve that. So taking a nap or sleeping in is almost the antithesis of what they expect to do. So you have to know that it's not only your worth, it's one of the things that are essential for us. And the sleep podcast that we did last week with Dan was amazing. So take a look at that if you are having sleep issues and you didn't already get a chance to catch it.
Yeah, absolutely. But uh, and we've discussed this before. Humans have this remarkable way to mortgage their future health, happiness, and well-being for what seems like temporary enjoyment, whether it's eating that extra donut or staying up late and watching that extra show or eating that extra burger. We always seem to think that the temporary, not burger, but sorry, or skipping out to the gym or whatever it is that gives us a tiny bit of reward now always seems more valuable than massive problems in the future.
Right. And, people think to themselves, well, I don't really see, like, again, if you didn't get enough sleep, if you were frozen for 30 minutes during the day because of that, you would, definitely everyone would make sure that they're getting enough sleep. But because we don't really know
There are
that.
immediate consequences.
Exactly. Immediate and visual, or you could actually feel the consequence to that. Because it's just a little bit foggy and you're a little bit grumpy and you want to eat a little bit more. And we don't see the free radicals, and we don't see that our body isn't healing during that period of time. It usually is only after an exceptionally long amount of sleep that you see people and they look drawn out and they're not really with it and they're fighting with people that they would usually not be fighting with. So it's probably one of the easiest ones to say, you know what, this is important. And when you're sleeping, that's your job. Your job is to be asleep so that you're refreshed and ready for the next day.
Now, when is sleeping and relaxation separate things? Because people will often say they need time to unwind before they sleep. So the house is finally quiet. The job is finally leaving you alone. You can sit down and you just don't feel like going to bed. You feel like watching a show or playing a game or surfing the net or doing something that just lets the day sort of slip away from you.
I need to do that every night before I go to sleep, and most people do. There are some people that can be either dead exhausted, which means that you've been using too much energy in the first place. If you are, again, really anxious, you're not going to be able to sleep. So it's better to have a cool down period of time when you can just sit, chill out, relax. And you need to, like, this show's about balance. And the main thing you need to do is listen to your body.
Mhm.
And I know so many people that are saying, oh, I'm tired all the time. They're like, I'm tired, I'm tired. And I ask, are you getting enough sleep? And they say no. Now, they're fine enough to complain about it, but they're not fine enough to do anything about that. And I find that's the most frustrating. If you care enough to complain, please do everyone around you a favor and care enough to try to change the patterns in your life that don't work.
Yeah, there's this thing, I call it victim divahood or martyr complex or something, where you get more reward out of complaining than you do out of adjusting your behavior, because then your ability to complain disappears.
Well, totally off topic, but there is something that goes with victimization, which I don't know if we've even ever done a show on this, and we probably should. But being a victim has a whole bunch of payoffs.
I'm too busy to sleep. I'm so important that the world can't do without me for
Right.
these hours.
Right. It gives you attention. You don't have to take responsibility. And it makes people feel sorry about you. So you get this secondary payback from it, from just being able to complain with that. I'm not really good with dealing with that. I
So
like change. That's exciting to me. People that want to do better, even if they can't. The fact that you want more from your life, even if it's really difficult, even if you're not able to now because you're dealing with depression or dealing with something else, the want for more, for me, is probably one of the most exciting things, seeing people go through that journey.
So how do we, if we start breaking down the levels of insanity that a modern life is? I mean, we have all these conveniences, quote unquote, around us that are supposed to let us enjoy our lives more. It just seems like instead of getting what we want to do done faster, we just do more. How do we start to live our lives in better balance?
The first thing you need to do is plan out what is not working in your life. So, a lot of people say to me, I want to eat better. But then which is fine, and that's a great first step. But the next step is, how do you make that work for your life? So, the first thing that you should do is throw out anything or give away, fair enough for those that don't want to waste, anything that does not fit that protocol that's in your house. So if I have I have like a whole box of my favorite chocolate chip cookies
Your
sitting in the
donut
cupboard,
dispenser.
my donut dispenser calling to me eat me. I'm delicious.
Donuts.
Um, that's probably not going to work out really well for when I'm feeling tired. I want something sugary and delicious, and it's just sitting there looking at me. I'll eat it even if it's stale at that stage of time. Um, and what I will do is after I've had a donut or two, if there's still someone brought over a box of 16 donuts and they've left them there and I've eaten my chocolate top donuts, which are my favorite, after I'm done, I will take the box, everyone's going to hate me, and I will recycle them into my garburator so the fish can eat it. So don't send me.
Well, that's a step, but I mean, like that to me is like a later stage step. Like there's just so many things going on. I don't know how to even get to the point where you're throwing out the donuts. Like that to me is further along in the balance curve, because it just seems like everything is so out of whack now that I wish I could get to the point of throwing out the donuts. I'm not even aware there's a box of donuts on the counter anymore.
Okay, so let's say if you are that far gone. If you are that far gone that you don't even know that things aren't working, or you just feel overwhelmed,
yeah,
I'll say something that is completely against all people that are more type A go-getters. You need to do less. You need to listen to your own energy levels and know that if you are, say, everyone has a certain amount of energy through the day. Now, people that are go-getters, achievers, want to do things are often usually close to empty. And if you're dealing with a depression, also that causes you to be really not have a lot of energy that you can expend in the day. So you need to listen to your body. But Rene, how do you know when you've done too much? Like, do you even know when you've done too much?
No, I have no idea. And that's the thing that I'm asking, is because it seems to me that we're not aware that there's a problem, and if we are aware there's a problem, we have no idea how to solve it, because there's always one more thing to do. The achieving the balance thing is so interesting to me, because it's such an ideal, but it doesn't seem like there's mechanical steps to get to that, to make sure that you have time for the exercise and time for the nutrition and time for the sleep.
It's so much easier than it really could be. I think it's difficult in application, but the first thing that you'd have to do is pause. Just take 5 minutes and do nothing. And then say, how do I feel doing nothing for 5 minutes? If that's easy for you, then odds are you're probably doing an okay job. If even stopping for 5 minutes is causing your anxiety to rise, you feel overwhelmed, you're thinking, oh my God, but I should A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
That is a really good barometer for saying there's way too much on your plate and you've probably been dealing with the rat race for too long. Which now you're going to have to do the hardest part, is do the opposite of what you want to do. Because often what happens and why we keep ourselves out of balance is because stopping is scary.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll feel worse before we start feeling better. Because maybe we do it because of guilt, because there's too much on our plate, because there's too many things handling to us. You need to take a breath and say, what am I dealing with? What is happening with me right now?
But if you stop, you can recognize the problem, Georgia.
Right, which is scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, I think I like this fantasy in my head is that if you are a type A personality, if you are driven, you could redirect that drive, you could redirect that will, you could redirect that need into things that are better for you. But it's almost like running downhill, where you're worried that if you change direction, you'll start tripping and falling, and suddenly you're Jackie Chan going down the hill.
Well, one of the problems with that is that doing things is often doing less, not doing more, and it's the antithesis of probably what you already want to deal with. If you don't have enough time to take care of yourself and keep yourself healthy, you're going to run out of time really quickly, because something's going to get you. And that's the one thing, our health is the one thing that we really need to make sure that we're taking care of, because it doesn't matter how successful, how many podcasts you've run, how many stories you've written, how many people you've taken care of. In the end, that'll get us all.
How many deals you've made, how many things you've sold,
how much money you have in your bank, it's not going to make any difference. And a lot of people come up to me and say, you know what, but I want to do this and I want to do that. Well, one day you're going to look back on your life and you're not going to say, I wish I had more money, or I wish I had written more stories, or I wish I'd taken care of more clients. All you're going to wish for is that I'd lived a healthier life and I'd spend more time with the people that I care about. That's all that matters. But if you're not going to be balanced, if you're not going to think about yourself first, then that's not going to happen.
So how do you start making those changes? For example, like if you say tomorrow, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat that that kale smoothie, and then I'm going to make sure that I take a nap. But then your phone ring. Like, how do you start introducing better types of behavior? How do you deprogram the bad types of behavior?
Well, I think that we often try to bite off more than we can chew, right? Like that, what your example was the perfect example of how a type A goes through this, right? They're going to drink the kale juice. I'm similar to that. I think actually that was my plan when we started Fitness Week. So I can't just throw you under the bus for this one. I think I have to throw both of us under the bus. That was my plan. I'm going to drink a juice every single day. I'm going to train, I don't know, 10 minutes every day. It's often our goals are too lofty. And then if they're too big, we're all or nothing, right? We're not going to do just a little bit. We're going to do all of that, or we're going to do nothing. So I ended up doing nothing, which is horrible. What you need to do is find things that work already into your day. Balance is about just moving a little bit more, a few more grains of sand onto the other side and saying, you know what, that's better. It's not perfect, but it's never going to be perfect.
So baby steps.
Baby steps, and do things that you enjoy that already work. So say you can't make it out to the gym and you don't like the gym, but maybe you like listening to music. Maybe you could say, you know what, I'm going to listen to music standing up and dance a little. It doesn't have to be some sort of, what's the kind of dance that you love, Rene?
Oh, I don't know, crumping? It doesn't have to be crumping?
Crumping. It doesn't have to be crumping. It doesn't have to be heavy or difficult.
And whatever the Gangnam Shake is, I have no idea what
Gangnam style, whatever you happen to like, but have fun with it and have it something that already works into your lifestyle. So maybe it'll be running around the house with your kids for a few minutes. That you could probably work in.
A treadmill desk.
Ooh, that sounds really horrible. But you love your standing desk. But again, standing doesn't really work out.
I don't have a treadmill desk, though. I'm not a Lex Friedman yet, but I have a standing desk.
And maybe instead of doing the whole 30 minutes of the yoga tape, maybe you'll do 5. Great. Do 5. Maybe you'll do 1. You'll do 1 pose per day. It's really just about starting somewhere that is not so far away from where you are, because if you make again, when you think balance, you want it to be, again, people that are more type A want it to be perfectly balanced. No, just a little bit more down than it was beforehand. Okay. You just want to deal with it being a little bit better. And after a while, it becomes a habit because it feels good. And it can just be like, again, some people can't stay still for 5 minutes. They really don't. They cannot do nothing for 5 minutes. Rene, how often do you not do anything at all? Like, you don't look at your phone, you're not watching TV.
That's very, like, I will sometimes go, oh, look, there's 30 seconds left on this hour. I'll just watch TV for those last 30 seconds and not type anything.
Right. But again, at least you're watching TV, which is a little bit active, but at least you're giving yourself 30 seconds. But even sometimes I'll just give myself, in between sessions, I'll give myself like 2 or 3 minutes just for me.
Do you do meditation or breathing or anything during that time?
I'll just relax. So I am actually doing the deep breathing, but I do it naturally when I'm trying to decompress in between sessions. It's not something that's formulative. I'm just thinking, relax and take a few minutes and don't worry, that's going to be okay, which you really want to say to yourself while you're doing that. You're taking a break and not feeling guilty about that. I need to cleanse. I need to relax. I need to be ready so that I can deal with the next activity and be fully present in the next activity when I deal with it. So I try, and I'm trying to be better about listening to my energy levels, and when I say energy levels, I'm not talking about the spiritual energy levels. I'm talking about how you feel while you're doing something.
Not your chi or your force power.
No, if that works for you, you may call it that, but it really is about listening to your body. Am I tired? Am I stressed? Am I angry? Am I doing too much? So now I'm taking an hour break for lunch every day. It's not easy. Nice. It's against my nature to do that, but I know better than to do that, than to work, 10 hours without eating or having a break. It's too much. I'm not being truly useful to everyone.
Yeah, I didn't eat until about 6:30 yesterday in the evening.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't have any food left in the house and I wasn't able to leave to get. I kept meaning to leave to get something, but something always came up.
Yeah.
To prevent it. Yeah,
and so I physically made sure that I had someone else say, okay, I'm doing this, that I cannot work during this period of time. Mm-hmm. And today it was hard. I'm not going to say that it was an easy thing not to do anything. I was actually roaming around the clinic bothering all the other therapists that
Playing
happen to be
Candy
there.
Crunch.
I did that too. Oh my, that game is completely addictive, but fun. Fun as long as I'm not at a really frustratingly difficult level. But, you know, I got to just enjoy, and I just chill out on my couch, relax. I do have a couch, yes. And I just relax for those few minutes, and I love it.
Is that different than napping? Is relaxing for a few minutes different than napping for a few minutes?
For me, if I'm really tired, I need to nap, and I feel different. Sometimes I'm feeling stressed, like my body is agitated, and that I need to decompress. I can't sleep if I'm exceptionally stressed, so then I wouldn't nap. So that's when I use relaxation. If I am physically tired, mentally tired, and then I'll take a nap. If I know that I haven't slept enough, and I just feel it, and then I will take a nap. And if you take a nap, even a little one, it's better than none at all.
Is it worthwhile using technology to help? Like, should we set something in our agenda, in our calendar, that beeps at us at the time in the morning we're supposed to work out, and beeps when we're supposed to take our lunch break, and beeps when we're supposed to take our nap or our relaxation period?
The only thing that I don't like about that is it's not teaching you to listen to your own body. You know, it's the same reason why I don't like people that eat always at 6 o'clock,
Okay.
which is nice because you have supper and you're with everyone, but you're not listening to what your body is saying. And I find that a little bit sad that we now
My body's a liar, Georgia.
we might need to deal with that. I use my technology to remind me of things that I will forget, but I try to be cognizant of my own body so that I know what I need. And I don't want to stop listening to me or not trusting it because, you know, if I'm tired and it says to do my push-ups, I will feel bad if I don't do it.
You just won't do it, and then the alarm starts going off, and you get a habit of ignoring it.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I'm too oppositional to listen to the alarm anyways if I don't want to. It's kind of like my parents saying, please do this. And I'm like, nah, it's probably not going to happen.
Now, you've mentioned things in the past that can help. For example, making sure that you have convenient access to more nutritional food, like buying pre-cut vegetables, that you lay out your stuff the night before so you can wake up and just get dressed and not have to worry about it. Are those more advantageous things? Can you pre-plan more? Or is that just a different place, a different time shift for your disbalance?
Yeah, you have to see where you're at. If you're really, really exhausted, probably just the vegetables in and of itself. Like if you're too tired to buy groceries, there's probably something else that's happening. You have to probably stop putting things on your plate. It's probably that you're just dealing with too much during your day and you need to set some time for yourself.
Your figurative plate, right? Not your literal one?
Yes, yes. Though with meals, it's always nice to have a smaller plate in the first place. But I think that there are times in our life when, you know, we're just doing too much. You need to learn, you know what, I need to do less, not more. And I think that in our society, doing more is what's looked at as being good.
As being heroic, even.
Well, exactly. And doing less is something that we frown upon. That's being lazy. That's being that. And I love that one of my friends' husbands said, she says, what are you doing on the couch? You're doing nothing. And he said, no, I'm not doing nothing. I'm relaxing. And I went, yeah, that's good. That's doing something.
Many a TV sitcom have tried to get away with that to no avail.
But it's true. I think that we need to know, again, if you're on the couch for 8 hours a day, then you're probably not you're not in balance as well either.
So if we're going to take any lessons away from this, Georgia, what can you suggest to get people onto the road to a more balanced life?
Well, I think the first thing that you need to do is you need to listen to you. How do I feel right now? And from that, so you say, okay, how do I feel? I feel tired, overwhelmed, stressed, angry, frustrated, left alone. Those are all symbols that you're not resting enough or you're doing too much during your day. You know, if you're relaxed and calm and balanced and not having too much on your plate, you're not going to feel those main emotions. Now, maybe you're angry at someone else for doing something, but you're not going to have to worry about that. If you're feeling really jittery, if you're feeling exceptionally hungry, if you're going through sudden sugar drops where you need to eat, those are symbols that you're not listening to your body either and you're not eating during the day. If you ever find yourself starving, you're doing something wrong. We should never let our bodies go into survival mode. That's really hard on our bodies, and we're going to start storing fat and we're going to start dealing with adrenaline and other hormones that you don't want to have.
And like you said, it's a vicious cycle, right? When you start being bad in one area, it leads to worse problems in other areas.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is the
So
reverse true when you start fixing one area? Like when you start sleeping more, do you feel better about exercising? When you exercise more, do you have more energy and sleep better and want to eat healthier? I mean, is there a virtuous cycle that's the opposite of that?
definitely, I think that a lot of people feel that, once I start eating better and I've lost a pound and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm feeling good," you'll stay on that habit. What the problem happens is that when you first fall down, we often don't get back up. So we feel, "Oh, you know what? I've already eaten 3 cookies. I've blown my diet. I might as well eat the entire box." That doesn't wash.
Hmm.
Just because you ate 3 cookies, it's not as bad as eating 4. So you can say, "You know what? I ate 3 cookies." This is what you should be saying, is that I ate 3 cookies, but at least I
I tripped
didn't.
over the rock. I might as well jump off the cliff.
Right, but at least I put the box away after I got rid of them, or I did this, and that's okay. You wanna make sure that you get back up. I think that when we fall down, when we do something that wasn't right, we often say, "You know what? Just forget about it. Nothing really matters anymore," which
Mhm.
is not a very loving way to look at ourselves. It's not a way to live a balanced life, is by saying, "You know, I've made one mistake. I might as well now make 100."
And you've made this point several times that we often treat our gadgets, our phones, our tablets, our toys far better than we treat ourselves.
Oh, yes. We make sure that they don't have any scuffs. I know, Renee, you often say, when your iPhone has like a nick or a ding in it, it really does bother you.
Yeah.
I notice when, if I haven't, my poor little phone hasn't been like cleaned or taken care of for a while, and I'm like, ah, the poor little tiny phone. But you want to make sure that you spend more time taking care of yourself than you do of your technology. You want to make sure that you spend more time listening to how you feel instead of worrying about how your phone or your car or
Yeah.
anything else that you have in your life is dealing with. So you want to treat yourself like a, high-priced technological device.
All right, and just because Fitness Month is over doesn't mean Zen and Tech is over. We're going to be back every 2 weeks, right, Georgia?
We will. And I would love to hear how you're going to stay motivated though it was Fitness Month. And oh, please, if you have not already, go down to the websites and you can enter to win um, the device of
$400
your
gift certificate.
dreams.
Yeah, the device of your dreams, which is basically a $400 gift certificate to put towards the phone, the tablet, even the gaming system of your dreams. And you can enter not only once per site, but you can enter once on every site. So that's crackberry.com, androidcentral.com, iMore.com, webosnation.com, wpcentral.com. That gives you 5 chances to win $400 in each of those sites.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, go down now and enter. It's just a comment,
Yep.
and you could win your own device for dreams. But I'd also like to know how you're going to keep Fitness Month to be, just a change. We do it as a wonderful boost to start, but just because Fitness Month is over doesn't mean that you should stop taking care of yourself and listening. What does my body need? How would I feel better if you'd feel better exercising a little more? You should listen to that and decide to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're back, we're going to continue with our parenting series.
We're going to do parenting, and I think that we're also going to do dealing with breakups and other things that deal with relationships and life and sex and being happy, taking care of yourself, a whole bunch of different
Being
suggestions.
human.
Oh, school stress, all kinds of different stuff. So,
Awesome. Georgia, thank you as always for your time. It is, I keep saying this, but it's true. Of all the shows that we do, this is the most important one because it's about the most important technology we have, the one that we can't replace every time a new one comes out, the one that doesn't have Apple Care or a manufacturer's warranty. It's our bodies and our spirits and our stress levels. And I want to thank you for doing it.
well, thank you as well, Renee.
All right, guys, we will be back in 2 weeks. Until then, make sure you enter the contest, make sure you leave comments, and make sure you let us know what you want to talk about because that's why we're here.
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter now, Georgia_PRIME.
Georgia
Georgia_Prime.
Prime. Awesome. And I'm at Rene Ritchie. We are all at iMore, at Crackberry, at Android Central, at WP Central, at WebOS Nation. And for all of our shows, go to mobilenations.com/shows. Have a great evening, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us, especially our live chat room. Those guys rock.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.